Today is a very interesting topic, something which I am most, apart from being aware as a woman, also am as a legal sense, I am most affected if how the legal pathway our country is taking towards this topic. It's a very sensitive topic. It is something that not everybody is comfortable with. It is something not the people who are going through also not comfortable to talk about, to know about, to share experiences, to stand and give testimony, or to even gain any kind of, if not legal, any kind of support or help morally and emotionally to get back to regular life. It's termed marital rape. It's a very, very sensitive topic. So, this session will not be going into the nitty gritties of the topic because, let's be honest, it's not something not everybody's comfortable with. And I understand that. Being a lawyer and a woman myself, I understand it's not something everybody will want to talk about it. But I will try my best to keep the topic as much as possible on a information basis, on a legal basis, on something that we can work on, study on, get more aware and more in a way focused towards getting that knowledge in not only to us, also to others, so as to make this a conversation possible in the near future, even if we are not completely out there taking placards and standing like, yes, I want to make a wild, big change in this topic and this area, and people who have gone through the troubles and are also going through the same troubles. Let's begin with I'll begin with the basic understanding what is rape. Rape, apart from the fact that the moment we listen to it, we shudder, take a step back, even for the person who's gone through, and even for people who are listening about these things happening. It's something that not everybody's comfortable. So, rape is when somebody is in a weaker position and there's another person who's in a stronger position and takes advantage of that position of strength and power to exploit the person in the weaker position. And normally that leads to sexual abuse. That is rape. Rape is, as per definition of the IPC, is when there is penetration. If not of your sexual organs or for any other part of the body, there's penetration or there is force involved for the act, sexual act. That is rape. But why am I saying person and I'm not saying a woman in a weaker position and a man in a stronger position? Because let's be very clear about this. Rape, the entire incident happening is a power move. It's not about just your carnal wants and wishes to be more satisfied. It's a power move. There are men who have been forced into sexual activity by men and women. Let's be very clear. There is no more just cisgender or heterosexual people around in the world. There are people who like people and want to be with people of the same sex and the same gender, and there is so on and so forth. So I will not want to make it only cisgender specific. It is for each and everybody out there. So let's be clear. Rape is when there is a person in the weaker position, overpowered and abused sexually by a person in the stronger position. Now, going back to our IPC is of the Victorian age. It is literally 1860. That's the year of the act. It's a Victorian age act. Victorian age, people were not forward and open about their sexuality. And so our IPC also depicts that since it is not open and an understanding of people's sexuality, so rape, as per the IPC, is only when a woman is put into a very compromising position by a man. It's only when a woman is sexually abused by a man. There is no man on man or woman or woman on man parameter at all. So when it comes to remedy, or to understand by definition, rape is only for man and woman when a woman is abused by a man. Now coming to our topic, which is marital rape. Marital rape is when there is the incident of rape after marriage. Marital means technically marital status being what is your status as, are you single in the sense you're unmarried, or you're married, or you're divorced, or you separated, is that. So in this case, it is taken for the better understanding of the public at large is when after marriage, you have married a person, after marriage, there has been sexual activity of which one, twice, or maybe multiple times, the activity was not consented for, rather forced into because you are married. And the basic understanding of marriage is for procreation, means you have children, you want to have children. And also, marriage means you are getting married because you want to have your sexual requirements and needs satisfied. Now, this is not the only reason to get married, which is something everybody who's a married person knows. Sex is not the only reason why you get married. You get married for many other reasons. You like somebody, compatibility, economic reasons, varied other reasons. However, this topic is, since we are dealing with marital rape, is only with regards to the sexual relationship of a married couple. So we'll stick to that. Now, in India, marriage as a way that a woman can consent to marriage has been a long drawn battle. It's not from now, it's from a long, long time. The fact that today, as women, we can say no till the age of 18, I am not going to get married, is because the law supports us. The law supports us because in the past, our freedom fighters fought that women should not be forced into marriage at a very small age of 13 or 14. It's like the moment she touches puberty, she should not be married off. You should give her time. There should be an understanding that you're getting into a relationship which is not a play, or it's not some kind of game. It's a relationship for a lifetime. You're going to be with one person, that person's family, and you will be known as that person's wife everywhere. The title will be along with you. So you should understand the importance and the magnitude of the relationship. And that is the reason why the age of marriage for women has increased over time, from 12 to 15 to 16 to now 18 to now they are considering 20, which I'm glad about 20. Why? Because 20 is the time where actually your personality is formed. If nobody has been introduced to this idea, it's very sad, because when you read books, even authors talk about it. It is till the age of 20, your personality is not formed. Ideally, why parents also say till the age of 20, till your college is finished, till you graduate also, don't think about it, just think about your studies. Because normally that is what happens. Till the age of 20, your personality is not formed. You don't know yourself, or you're trying to understand yourself. It's before the age of 20, if you're attached to another person, is your personality starts forming according to whatever the other person is. And you don't know about yourself, your likes, your own self. So after the age of 20, if there is a law that makes women and men marry after the age of 20, it is much better, because they'll be more focused and understanding towards themselves. So they know what they want, they don't want from their partners. Coming back to our topic, the age has increased for women over time. Now, if you say the age has increased, if you say think this is not a very important topic, it is. Why? Because this shows the age of consent. A woman allowing another man to touch her in a environment where she thinks she's allowed to have sex, which is marriage. Marriage is an environment, a safe space where she's allowed to have sex. So to allow the woman to believe that I am okay, I'm at an age, I have married, society, and for other purposes, I am allowed and I can indulge in this activity, and there'll be nobody who will come around and say, what am I doing? My questions will not be asked at me. So the age has increased. If you now you look at a 10th standard girl and you think, she's a small baby, 10th standard girl. However, at a way long time, way back, a 15-year-old girl was considered to be a woman. She's a full-blown woman, can bear a child, so she needs to get married. Their consent is not considered at all that when she wants to get married. It was just considered by society as a norm that 15, okay, get married, because that's the time when you shouldn't have babies. So you are supposed to be somebody's wife by that time. Over time, people have understood, litigations have been passed. There has been a lot of to and fro topics over this, on an age when a woman can say no. Now, if you look at it, historically also, a woman consenting or not consenting to sex has never been questioned. It's always been what society, meaning man, being the provider. I don't want to start a war between patriarchy and not patriarchy. But let's be considerate and try to understand. If you read the history of it, a woman has not been asked, "Ki Baba, terko kab shadi karni? When do you think you want to get married?" It's always been, okay, I think she should get married at 15. Why? Because she looks like a woman, she talks like a woman, she moves like a woman, she should get married. Even if the woman is like, even if the girl is 15 or 16, that doesn't mean that her mental awareness of the world has made her prepared for such a big commitment. So historical view, if you look at the age of consent for women, it has taken long time to eventually get to this age of 18 to say, okay, whatever it is, with or without a consent, that is what is being incorporated in our section of rape, that with or without consent, a woman, if she's under 18, whatever her consent, yes or no, the sexual act is rape. That is what today that we can say about when it comes to women who are under the age of 18. If they consent to the act, if they don't consent to the act, it is rape. So even if the fact that she's married, that is where the catch is. Even if the fact that she's married and she's under 18 doesn't apply, because there is an explanation to that. After the age of 15, if the woman is a married woman and she consents to a sexual act, or she doesn't consent to a sexual act, but she's married, then it is not rape. Now, this is a question mark, because for a girl at large who's not married, 18, it's rape, with or without a consent. And you have the flip side of the argument, 15, married, doesn't consent, but it is not rape. So there are opposing views in the section itself, which if you look at it in a regular logical person view, you feel this doesn't make sense, it doesn't go in line, and you are kind of contradicting yourself. So with all the stories at large, if you have seen a person rapes a woman and then gets married to the woman and then it's not a rape, then he's no more a rapist. This is the reason it is not, because it's given in the section. He can get married. So a rapist can get married to the person, to the victim, and which is appalling, because the victim has to live with the fright of this man, not as a third person or a accuser or the abuser, as a husband, somebody. Now she's going to be known and called as somebody's wife, that man's wife. So this trauma again is not something comfortable with. I don't believe people should live with. However, this is what, why, and how things work with regards to, if you see sections, and right now, as in India, as things have happened. I can be opposed and argued against कि like ऐसा नहीं होता है. And I'm very well welcoming that argument, and I'll be more than happy of accepting that this doesn't happen. But however, the news that you have read, some movies that have been portrayed such instances, is what makes me think the other way around, and which is kind of disappointing. As an Indian, a woman living in India, it is a little disappointing. However, coming our topic being only marital rape, the next understanding is the current understanding of marital rape. The current understanding, because of this entire purview that is happening, people have not exactly understood that marital rape ho sakta hai. There is this one incident. I don't know if you have watched the movie. It's a very a dark movie of Amitabh Bachchan, Ux. I like that movie. Not the entire movie as such, like the certain aspects of the movie. Pretty dark. This is one scene in the movie where Amitabh Bachchan and his wife. There's a lovely scene where she and he are gone out for a party. They had a nice time. They're having a good dinner date. It's considered to be a nice time. She's married. He's her husband. She's happy. It's all good, fun and games. They come back home, and she was planning, I think, to go to sleep or go rest or relax. But her husband, who's Amitabh, he is in a mood. He's in a mood. That's the thing. He's in a mood. That's it. And because he's in a mood, he forces himself on her. And the following morning, when she's breaking down in front of him, he gets up in the morning. He doesn't know what's happened. He's like everything. And then when she tells him that you were in a mood, I wasn't in a mood. You were too energetic. I wasn't there. And so I felt raped. So if you look at that conversation, it's a husband-wife. They went out to a good time. Anybody would think, they had a good time, so why not? If he's in a mood, let her please her. She should please him. But look at the other after effect. The woman is now sitting down in a corner right next to her husband in the same bedroom and crying her guts out. Why? Because she was not ready for it. it was still her body, it was still her being, it was still her, she was still she was not just his wife, she was still she was still a woman, and she was not happy with the entire episode that happened, and she was crying. Her husband just gets up from sleep. So imagine, he's done, he satisfied himself, he's gone to sleep. She has not satisfied herself, she's going through it continuously in her mind, and it is so bad that she's sitting in a corner and crying early in the morning. It means an entire night of only pain, of not just being forced by the man you love because you married him and you're happy with him. Not just that, it's also, I am a woman, I also should be allowed something like a say in the matter. Was not even considered, was not even asked. So if you look at it, marital rape, on a viewpoint from the society, as a third person, if I'm looking at a couple having fun, they're enjoying themselves, they're going home, I feel like, okay, fine, everything's fun and games, everything's fine, they are happy, they are married, so they can do what they want. But on a personal view, like, turn the camera from the third person, come back to personal, from a person's view, how this intimacy that you feel, you're in a comfort zone, you're in a safe space to say no, you're in a safe space to believe that your partner will understand you, doesn't happen. That hurts way more. So if you look at it from that purview, it is very difficult for women to move on from such aspects. So if you look at the current understanding of marital rape, this is what we are not understanding. As a society, we are not understanding that a woman who is in a married relationship does not want to indulge in sex. Why? Because she's not ready, is an answer which should be comfortable for anybody and everybody to fathom. However, we are not fathoming that. Why? Because we are not seeing her perspective. That she is in a marriage, she's thinking she's in a safe space, but she's not in a safe space. Now, this is with regards to marriages where women are vocal, marriages where men think, okay, my wife can say what she wants to say, she wants to be, she can feel that she can talk about it. This is one type of marriage. There are many marriages in India, and one of those few types of marriages is where a woman is not given the power to say yes or no to a particular act or to a particular incident or to anything or her want. And because she's terrified of her husband, not that her husband is a tyrant, but she's terrified because we are brought up with, अरे ऐसा नहीं बोलते, पति के सामने ऐसा नहीं करते, पति को ऐसा नहीं बोलते. You are already badgered so much as a child growing up, so you don't open up in front of your husband. You're terrified of telling your husband that you're not comfortable, and you think that if you mention it, you are going to sabotage the little peace that is there in the house, and you don't want to do that, so you stay away from it. So again, the current understanding of marital rape in India is not only bleak when it comes to a society standpoint, it is also bleak when it comes to a human person who thinks, do they have the right? Do they not have the authority? Also, like, they don't, not many are out there understanding that yes, consent is something that is ongoing. Consent is not, शादी हो गया तो consent ही consent है, ऐसा नहीं है. Like in a shadi ke baad, there is no question of consent and all. No, there is an ongoing aspect. It is not just today, it is always going on every day. Regardless, you have children in the future, you don't have children, you stay married, you stay in a long distance marriage, you stay together. However it is, the consent is an ongoing question that has to be always communicated, which is again not per se the thought also of our judges, unfortunately. It is considered even by our judges, and this is an ongoing question in the Delhi High Court and the Supreme Court that is going on with regards to marital rape, that the idea is you're married, your consent is considered to be given. Marriage is for various reasons, but however, it cannot be considered that the consent is automatic. It is supposed to be asked. That is what is also given in many of our laws, that a woman cannot be abused sexually. Now, how am I saying this? Because there are laws with regards to women's safety. There is domestic protection of women against domestic violence, that is 2005. Then you have IPC. Then you have, yes, I agree, the IPC has opposing views, but there are few sections in the IPC that can support us. Then there are varied other laws with regards to a woman that they can protect themselves from such kind of abuse against the husband. So when you say the domestic violence, the act itself allows women to go to court or go to an authority to ask redressal with regards to the abuse that she suffered from the husband. I mean, in this case, being sexual abuse, she can go to court to ask for some kind of redressal or some kind of relief. Now the question everybody will be asking is like, in a laws to hai, lekin kaise you'll prove it? Because this is something, it's in the bedroom, we don't know, we can't say. One thing about abuse which people don't understand is abuse always leaves marks. Abuse physically, mentally also it does, but we don't see it. That's why we don't look at it, because we've all been abused mentally. We think are it regular. No, abuse always leaves marks. Abuse always leaves some kind of sign that there has been ill treatment on the body. We don't often go ahead for a medical checkup. We don't often go ahead accepting, yes, we've been beaten up also. So yes, our body parts, wherever we've been bruised, needs a medical person to come and take attention to those medical requirements of my body. That is our basic understanding, which is something we don't want to ever venture into. We're like, हाँ लग गया, चोट लग गया, चलेगा, निकल लो, हम लोग ठीक हो जाएंगे. It's और like ना थोड़ा ज्यादा जोर का हो गया होगा, चलेगा, छोड़ दो. नहीं. These things, when it comes to abuse, women have to understand that if only and only when you move ahead and make that small effort of getting yourself checked in medical by a medical professional, then something can be done. Then you have something to back your claim up that you have been abused. Regardless of the person, the marriage was love marriage, arranged marriage, whatever the feeling you have for your husband, regardless of that, if there is an abuse, there is always some kind of mark or a residue or some evidence or a symbolism that there was an abuse. We don't venture in is the reason we don't have any kind of proof. Because we don't have any kind of proof, because of our nahi sharam, we don't want to go there, we don't want to touch that part, is the reason why we cannot prove it. The moment we can't prove it, the idea of the judges, unfortunately, most being men, very few are women, most being men, take it for granted she's lying. And it is obviously, it becomes not just one woman's problem, it becomes every woman's problem at large. Because if one woman has an accident, every other woman is a bad driver. One man has an accident, it was one man who had an accident. Other men are also not bad. That is the understanding. And if this feels like I'm going against men and I'm man hating propaganda, I'm not. I'm just giving you what the spectrum view is. Because let's be honest, with all the, not all men tag that men talk about, it is men who tell women, take care and come home safely. If you believe it is not all men, then who are you asking me to be fearful of? If not all men, you're not asking me to be scared of men. So telling me to take care and come home doesn't even come in the perspective, right? Now, anyway, I'm digressing from my topic. My topic is again marital rape when it comes to current view. Current view is we are not understanding that this is a problem which is inside a marriage, and we should look at it as an individual's perspective as opposed to as a society thinking that marriage means everything is all right and everything is fair and everything is allowed. That is what we need to change. Second, our perspective that we ourselves don't believe that we are allowed to say no. We can say no. Being married, not feeling that we are going to be going against any kind of law or any kind of thought of the society. It's not going to go against anybody. A person has got the freedom of their own body and their person. And this is the reason why we can say no. When it comes to remedy in law, yes, we have remedy in law with regards to the Domestic Violence Act, which I mentioned, and you have the IPC 498A, which talks about harassment. Now, harassment is a big horizon. You can have any kind of harassment. You can have emotional, physical abuse, sexual, economical. So you have harassment at a larger spectrum. You can mention this also specifically in harassment. Now, when it comes to laws, apart from these, why women are fearful, if you're looking at it, are you still violating something? There is this one article in the constitution which I feel is like the best article. It's the article where that allows a human being to live with dignity, to live a life with dignity. Now your dignity is affected by any kind of external force which causes you to not live your life to your fullest extent, not exactly harming anybody, but to your fullest extent being also productive to yourself and to the society, is the Article 21 in the Constitution, which is beautiful when you look at it in this way. An act done by a person who's very close, you're living in a conjugal relationship, means you're going to have sex, and if in that relationship there is an act which causes you as a person to not feel that you're living a life of dignity, you have the basic right to and the basic responsibility on yourself to fulfill it. So we need to be aware that we are also living in a society. I have a right to live life with dignity, so does my partner have a right to live life with dignity. And accordingly, since both of us have that right, I cannot mar that right for her. I cannot overpower her and insult her body by just exercising force or exercising my power on her, which is the reason why women at a larger spectrum should be. How do we make them know that they are able to say no to a husband when it comes to this? Is when they are given that encouragement and understanding that living life with dignity is your basic right. And to live life with dignity, you should feel happy about it and proud about the fact that you're living with somebody you love and you love your body. That when it is harmed by external forces is when trouble starts internally, and which aage jaake it'll start showing in the relationship also. There'll be trouble in the relationship in the longer run, which everybody knows. And though we try to sideline it by saying that nah, it's a marital issue, husband wife they keep fighting hai, pati patni mein jhagda hota rehta hai, no matter how much of we sideline it, eventually the cracks will show. And then we talk about, अरे there are divorces in this society, मतलब है ना, अभी सब लोगों को अपना अपना करने का, सबको किसी को देखने का नहीं है, is because these small avenues which we all let it go, or if not let it go, we do not look into, focus into, we do not concentrate that these things have to be fixed, is when the bigger things happen. There are marriages breaking, there are children who are not learning to be respectful towards their family members because they see their mother is being not exactly treated that well. So they feel like, no, I have to protect her. So everybody else is the bad guy. And when everybody else is the bad guy for a child's mind, it becomes it's a repetitive thing. Even as they grow old in life and they become older and adults, but they still, the mind is like, no, you were not good to my mother, is the thought, which is not exactly conducive and on a society level when you're living, because everybody has shades of characters which children don't understand. Why they don't understand? Because the mother is all pained. Mother is pained because the relationship is not happy. Relationship is not happy because there's a power struggle happening inside the relationship. It's all a chain reaction. So to say the marital rape as such is not something that should be concentrated on is very silly. Honestly, very silly. And in a time where internet, like, because we're sitting like this, internet is so fast and everybody is able to get knowledge very quickly. Influx of knowledge is constant. At a time when so much is possible, to be still thinking nothing is affected, there is no chain reaction, is really ignorant of being like to the extent of being living under a rock. That's what I would say. Okay, what evidence, like I mentioned, the evidence what we can mention with regards to this particular topic, marital rape. A woman can only go on and do something about it. There is always a sign left by abuse. Okay, now we are coming to a relationship which is not marriage, but this is not a relationship which is not casual. It's still a committed relationship. It's called a live-in relationship. A live-in relationship is a commitment that you will be living with each other, and whatever are your terms of being loyal to each other and whatever your terms of living together, you have decided that regardless of marriage or no marriage, You'll be there together in a same vicinity, in your house, however it is. Now, in a live-in relationship, when such cases happen of rape, then it is not considered to be a married woman. It is considered to be a woman of her own accord who's living with a man. So you're not, as by society standard, married. So under society standard, you're still unmarried. So you have all laws that have unmarried girls being protected, which is again the IPC. And if you feel that the Domestic Violence Act does not work for you, it works for you, because the relationship you share with your partner in that relationship is domestic. Domestic means you're living with that person. You have a very close bond with that person. A father, a brother, a boyfriend you're living with, a live-in boyfriend, your husband, your nephew, your niece, a relationship that you're living together makes it a domestic relationship. So in a live-in relationship, such acts can also, a woman can also protect herself from such acts of violence under the Protection of Women Against Domestic Violence, because this is a domestic relationship. This is the reason why the act is in favor of her, not so much in favor of the man just yet. When you look at the flip side of marital rape, when if you the question comes, is the man, what if the man is being raped? What if the man is being overpowered by the woman? What if the woman is not somebody who is a person who listens to no, she always wants yes regardless? What if she has tendency of having an activity every day, and when the man is dead tired, doesn't want to do it? How do you say no to that? Well, the way is you say no by actually saying no. Second, if there is no, the thought rather, actually, the thought of Indians, and also if you meet anybody also for that matter, the thought is a woman's power compared to a man's power physiologically is less. So to come across an incident where the woman has overpowered a man is rare. I'm not saying there are not, there are, but they are rare. A woman overpowering a man can only happen because she is in a position of power with regards to monetary. She can blackmail him into an act. She's in a position of power because of the relationship there that they share. Maybe she's politically also connected, or she comes from a family that is well, can actually ruin the boy's family. You know, in short, blackmail. Let's be clear about this. In short, blackmail. The only reason a woman can be overpowering a man is because of blackmail, because physiologically a woman cannot overpower a man unless the man is really weak and a woman is very strong. Then that's a completely different scenario. Then you don't need blackmail. Then it is pure bulk power. However, coming to regulars, a woman will overpower a man. Does the man have any kind of remedy? Definitely not in rape. Because like I said very clearly at the start of our session, our sections were made not today, our sections were made in the Victorian age. Now, in the Victorian age, the idea was a woman is weak, a man is powerful. So the idea that a woman can overpower a man was never thought about, never discussed, never even considered. It was always considered men will overpower women. And that's how the section has gone forward. So if you're the flip side of the situation, is a man going to be able to defend himself in law? Very weak chances. Not in rape, probably for assault, probably for battery, for sections that are more on the unisex, where anybody can be beaten up or anybody can be harmed. Yes. When it comes to rape, difficult, very difficult. With regards to the current changing scenario where same-sex relationships are accepted, so man on man, again, very difficult. We have not changed the definition of rape. The date when the definition of rape changes, when it is considered to be an act of sexual intercourse by force on a person, regardless of the sex of the person being woman or man, is when there will be some kind of solution when a man is being in the position of being a victim against abuser, whoever is man or woman. When there is a solution for a husband in a situation where the wife is the abuser? Not so much. Unfortunately, not so much. The law is very nascent in this stage. Again, the law is still trying to wrap its head around the fact that marital rape hota hai. The fact that it is coming out as a discussion now and still there is nothing done to it. Try understanding how archaic is not just our law, but also our enforcers of the law, who are judges in the court, who are not accepting that law can actually support women or men in a relationship which is a consented relationship. Marriage is a consented relationship where there is no consent for sex. So that's opposing a consented relationship and no consent for sex. This does not make sense for most judges, and that's the reason why we are talking about it. And it is way more scarier in a consented relationship. No consent for sex coming from a man is way more scarier, because it's like Pyar Ka Panchnama, when I think one of the characters was saying, "Nay, sometimes I'm not in the mood," and his friend who's a guy, he's like, when have men not been in the mood? And he was like, "Sometimes I'm not." So the argument is also from men to men. Ki, when have you not been in the mood? So when you're dealing with this topic, it's not just law perspective; it is also from society and regular human customary thought perspective, that it is not a normal usage. Ki men should also say no. It's always a woman who says no. Like, she's always on a period. What about man? Well, men also have the other understanding that they don't want to indulge today, not tomorrow, like whatever the time period. So consent has to come from both ways. It has to be the woman who says yes or no, or the man who says yes or no. Consent has to be both ways. Law is still nascent, very, very nascent. Currently only protecting women. Protection of man, yet to get there. Yeah, there's going to take some time, but going to get there. What can we do for when it comes to the accuser? Like, if since we are going to be like accusing somebody, so what is the victim? What can the victim take care? The duty and care of the victim is just like say and accuse somebody of a very heinous crime like this. They better have their groundwork clear. If they don't, this can cause defamation, and defamation for the person who is being accused of this, the person can really take this all over, civil, criminal. There is no end for that, and it's not exactly a very comfortable topic to talk about when it comes to family and friends, that you have been accused of rape by your wife. It becomes a very sensitive topic, and it's not exactly a very, like, चाय पे नहीं बात कर सकते, ये चाय पे चर्चा वाली topic नहीं है. It's a very something that we don't like to talk about. We brush it under the carpet so much. So no, just no.
This is systematic and requires mindset change. Education and awareness is needed, starting from the school.
Yes.
What can be done to spread awareness?
Sessions like this talk more about marital rape, as that is, apart from being sensitive, also a necessary topic to be spoken of. What we can do is specifically where people are getting married in India, marriage is taken to be a very big thing. So we, if possible, have sessions like when people are about to get married. You're engaged, and there is a time period before you all get married. वो रोका का वो time होता है. You can have people join some kind of like an organization can host this through mandirs or your communities or whatever, different religious organizations. You take this session of understanding your partner and understanding their requirements and needs, and have a discussion with them. This is one way I can think of with regards to spreading awareness, because this awareness cannot happen at the age of 15, 16 when you're in school, like sex ed. No, this cannot be that. This has to be more towards when you're getting married, because big step. So through organizations, through religious organizations also, if they take this step and make it a move, because let's be honest, क्या बोलते हैं, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, this was our 4 pillars of why most of our things are being built. And if you don't explain calm, then how much ever you are with your money and your duty towards the world, you will not be able to live a happy life with your partner. So that has to be done, is something I would suggest also, to have more sessions like this, not just on a one-to-one as a legal lawyer perspective, as a general person, we can have that. Like, religious institutions can encourage couples who are getting married, roka ke baad kar lo ek session. Are you all open to talk about it? Because if not now, when? You don't want to do the crime and then afterwards do the time. Rather, like, preempt the crime if it is going to be ever there. You know who you're getting to live your life with.
If the wife files a false rape case against the husband, then what are the remedies available to the husband?
False rape case against the husband, yes, the remedies is defamation. And rape case, like I said before, we need to prove it with evidence. Even now, the Supreme Court now has recently said also, after 498A, before there was used to be an arrest immediately. Now there has to be a minimum 3 months of for investigation, questioning, and understanding whether the case was fraudulently filed or filed because of an angry fight, or was it really honest and it was filed in earnest. So the solution for a husband for against a fake rape case, yes, get the evidence in check. First, that. Second, what he can stand for is get an affidavits of how a person's behavior is, because this has to go completely on the person's characteristic. She is the blame on the person because of a person's particular act. You have to flip the coin on her, and how is she as a person? She's a person who is a vengeful person. What is her basic characteristic? You have to flip the coin on her. That's the only solution he has in law.
If the husband and wife are living in judicial separation, can a wife put marital rape allegations on her husband?
Yes, there is a clear section in the IPC. If the husband and wife are in separation, either by an order or for whatever reasons they are in separation, and if there has been an act of sexual intercourse not welcomed, there can be a case filed against the husband for rape.
There are various opinions that state that this should be a gender neutral law. What are your views on it?
I completely agree for a gender neutral law. Definitely agree for a gender neutral law. We need a gender neutral law. If we are saying one side 377 is not going to be anymore क्या बोलते हैं हलक्का काटा है ना, it's not going to be there in the society to bar people from expressing their love and affection, then there has to be protection also. Because trust me, as a lawyer, I have had men and I've had women who have come up to me and told that they've had bad incidents in same sex, and there is no law to protect a woman against woman and a man against man, and it is terrifying out there for these people, because it's like you are allowing them to live but you're also holding them back. It's like you're holding one hand and that is not possible. You need a gender neutral law. It has to work both ways.
Kerala High Court recently passed an order stating that marital rape is a valid ground for divorce. Yes. What are your views on it?
I am happy about that law. I mean, that judgment. I read the news snippet of it. I was pretty happy about it. Yes, marital rape should be a ground for divorce, because you have something as venereal diseases and you have something as mental harassment is a little harsh to say, but you have various, you have one of the clauses for divorce is if you change your religion. If something as you changing your religion means you change your belief can be a cause for divorce, then this is a way harsher act of marital rape. So that being a cause for divorce is brilliant.
One of the judgments stated that premarital counseling should be made compulsory in India. So do you think that this will help in controlling marital rape situation?
Yes, exactly. Like I said, after your engagement, your marriage, if you all can have this sessions where the couple is made to understand each other, various things of marriage. You all can discuss economics, you all can discuss finances, you all can discuss education, बच्चों को किसको education करने का है, etc. Now, all of that, discuss your sexualities also. This is great, and the this thought that has come across that in a marital session, in a counseling session should happen for married couples is brilliant. Yes, there should be more, and all around India will be great. I'm thinking this will take time, thoda lagega, because not everybody wants to go and listen to lectures just before they're getting married, because the whole "Are shadi kare," the excitement is great, but it's requirement, because once the honeymoon period goes away, the reality is not fun.
Ma'am, I have a question that even if in a false case of 498A, the burden of proof lies on which party?
See, ideally, the burden of proof always lies on the person who is, like, when I'm pointing my finger in law, the logic of law is, I'm putting my finger on you, I have to tell you why I'm putting my finger on you. So the burden of proof ideally lies on the party putting the blame. So if the victim in this situation, 498A normally is a wife putting the blame against the husband and the in-laws. So the burden of the onus of proof, the burden of proof lies on the wife to prove it, that yes, she has been harassed. But coming back to my in my talk, which when I said if a woman has really been abused, she has to have some kind of medical evidence proving that there was abuse, because this is a very sensitive topic and not everybody is open and comfortable with their own bodies, let alone going to a medical professional and asking baba dekh mere ko kya problem hua hai. You know, it's very difficult for a woman to go out there, even for sneezing or for a regular छींक आया हम लोग डॉक्टर के पास नहीं जाते, and for something like this to go to a doctor, not just talk, also tell ki listen, trouble happened and this is the trouble that happened, becomes difficult. So again, coming to your answer question, burden of proof is on who? It is on the wife. But does the wife normally have enough proof to justify her claims? Not all the time. When it comes to creating like a proof, if the case is something that is not on this topic for any other topic, then it is possible. If it is a physical abuse, you can prove physical abuse, are always available. If it's a financial abuse, you can prove that also you're not allowed to work and you're made to not earn your own money, you're not even given money to survive. So again, that's financial abuse. You have various abuses. Sexual abuse is very difficult to prove, but other abuses can be proved, and mostly the onus lies on the woman to prove it. Then it lies on the man to defend, say he has not done it and it is not his doing. Then that's the other fight.
During the relationship, there is any written bond, or whether there is a commitment you are saying, and whether there is a written bond or not. Then after some sexual intercourse and all that, that woman can charge as a blackmailing or some other thing. So what things afterwards happen after the during the relationship? There is a sexual intercourse. My question is that whether there is any written bond between that man and woman in a living relationship.
Live-in relationship ideally is never written, कुछ होता नहीं, mostly नहीं होता है, very few cases होता है. In a live-in relationship, yes, you have a contract live-in relationship also. It's nothing new. There have been in the past. Few couples are very clear about their requirements and what life. So yes, you can have a written contract, what each other is allowed to do. Mostly people don't go into written contracts. We have this trust factor belief in India. So even for business, people don't go into written contracts. So ये तो relationship हो गया, ये तो कुछ ज़्यादा ही trust आ जाता. So written agreement between a couple, what is allowed, what is not allowed, is normally not there. So when it comes to sexual intercourse, also in a couple, it is considered that they are adults. They are over the age of 18 and 21 for a girl. Because they're over that age, they are allowed to indulge in sexual intercourse with each other and they have consent with themselves. However, again, in this case, if there is no consent given and there is the act of sexual intercourse, there is a remedy for the woman of rape against the boy, which becomes difficult. Apart from proving the fact that there was a relationship, also difficult. Why you were living together, and if you think the person was so harsh, why did you live with him? Because there is no marriage, there is no societal obligation. Marriage makes it a society's obligation to live with the man. Live in relationship, there is no obligation from society or from anybody to live with the person. You can very well walk away from the marriage, from the relationship. So if you have not walked away from the relationship, that question also comes about. So there are various avenues. If you say in a live-in relationship, the written, you cannot say anything like, you are allowed, you're not allowed. Very few couples have it written. Most have it not written. Most experience the crime and then afterwards they start wondering ki kya kiya, kya nahi kiya, kyun kiya.
What is the legal standing of marital rape as a crime, and can marital rape be called as cruelty in divorce case? Like, can it be ground for cruelty?
Ground for cruelty? Yes, it is. It can be a ground for cruelty. What is a stand criminally in India? Not yet a crime, unfortunately. Still being discussed in the High Court, Delhi High Court and the Supreme Court. Still being discussed. If you follow these legal pages, you'll know that it's an ongoing question happening in the courts. Not a crime. can be used as a cruelty for divorce cases. Yes, can be used, because cruelty, fortunately for us, is not defined in any act. It is mentioned as a ground for divorce, but it is not defined. Why? Because the understanding of the court is cruelty is a large ambit. You can be suffering cruelty on account of mental cruelty, physical cruelty, sexual cruelty, economic, financial, political, many aspects. Cruelty is not never one thing. So because of that reason, it is, and it being a larger horizon, we can consider marital rape as sexual cruelty as a ground for divorce in marriage.
Ma'am, what are your views that if this is made legal in India, do you think that in the process of getting remedy, the marriage will get broken, the bond will get broken?
Let's be very clear about one thing. Crime is one thing. Marriage bond is completely different aspect. Marriage bond will be broken, yes, in the process of getting justice. Possibility of it breaking is, I'm not going to say it's not going to break. I'm not going to say it's going to definitely break. It is completely a self-discovery thing. Because if your partner truly, honestly did not think that your consent was needed, that man will never ever, regardless of whatever you bring forth, whatever law or anything tells him, he will always believe he was in the wrong for saying no. She should not have said no. It is her responsibility, her duty as a wife, कर्तव्य पत्नी का कि मुझे please करना है, is wrong. First of all, to think that way. And if you bring about a law and you tell him कि नहीं, it is not कर्तव्य, it is also consent. Human person exists. There is a dignity of life I can live with. And if he doesn't accept that, yes, marriage will break. It is better to break a marriage with a person who does not give you the dignity that you should be living with, than to live with a man who's going to always badger it down. The flip side is the marriage can be survived because of a person who is open to understanding like this, which he was never made to understand before, and now accepts, okay, fine, my wife has rights. All right, cool. My wife wants to not indulge in an act which I want to indulge in, very well, no issues. I will control myself for maybe a night or 2 nights, whatever it is, till she's comfortable with it. Because women go through a lot of pains throughout our monthly hormonal cycles. So yes, if she can, like if she's in pain, if I don't want to indulge, and rather she doesn't want to indulge, I will also not want to indulge. Possibility of the marriage strengthening is also there higher, education that comes across, and a man will start wondering and thinking ki, if I'm allowed, then she is also allowed. Strengthening is also there. It shows character of a person. In process, show a society that will be more safe as a growing environment for the upcoming youth and upcoming children, because their parents will be such kind of men and women who are allowing the other person's consent over and above just fulfilling carnal wants and needs. So it swings both ways. If you're saying more marriages will break, that is, we have to wait and see how many marriages. That will show how our thinking is, like how we've been brought up thinking and understanding. Marriages only show that, nothing else. My closing remarks are just that since this is a very sensitive topic, to not consider it under the carpet. We'll talk about it. However, be very considerate of the fact that when we are talking about it or encouraging others to talk about it, we should not, what do you say, discredit or make them feel कि नहीं तेरा experience बहुत ऐसा नहीं था, मेरा और भी खराब हुआ था. Don't devaluate somebody, like just because their experience is different from your experience of a marriage or for anything is it's not supposed to be considered, or they should not feel that they are not also victims, because it's very difficult to actually come up and say first of all, and to say and afterwards not be considered that it was a problem, you are a victim, is again very difficult on people. And second thing is as and how we grow in law is as and how we hopefully will be able to understand that law is not just man woman, it is also man woman woman. There are various aspects and relationships in a society, and we need to be understanding that more than over only just sticking to the cisgender relationships. That's my only thing. That, like, going forward, I want people to understand that crime, it's always a power game. It's never man woman. It's always who's in the powerful position against the person who's in the weaker position, and that's how crime happens. Thank you so much for having me.